ready to do history. This is my story, and we're going to be looking on page 29. And on page 29, you're going to see this little person here, and you're going to see this little thing under the ocean here. Now I'm going to make my page a little bit bigger. Oh, way bigger. All right. Now, are you there? Lesson number 2 on page 29. Do you see this little person? And you see this down below on page 29. All right, do you know what this is? It's under the sea, maybe a submarine. Well, this particular one is not called a submarine, it's called a bathyscaphe. This PH right here sounds like an F. Can you say it? Bathyscaphe. Now, last week we went to Hawaii. Remember we learned about Hawaii, and it's made up of a bunch of volcanoes out in the ocean. Real pretty, but it's small islands. Remember how we learned about that? Well, we're going to go study about another island today. It is an island, but it's also its own continent, and it's the continent of Australia. This is the word right here, Australia. You see that? So we're going to Australia in a bathyscaphe. Okay, this week we'll be traveling. I'm going to read. Now you follow along with me right here on this page, okay? Either on the screen or on your paper. This week we'll be traveling to Australia in a bathyscaphe, an underwater vehicle with a name that means deep vessel. Let's get ready to go to the land down under. That's kind of a nickname for Australia, the land down under. Do you know why it's called that? Well, because, let me see if I can find our map. Remember our map that we had? Let me see if I can find that map that we had. I don't see it here. We had this map last week. Remember we were looking at this map? I'm not seeing it. Well, that's okay. Well, it's on the other, it's in your book. It's in the first part of your book. In fact, we can look back. I want to show you where Australia is at. Not that map. This map. Oh yeah, let's look at this map. This is a good map. I gotta turn it around. There we go. All right, let's look at this map. Now here's where we live in the United States. We live about right there where my arrow is pointing. Australia is way over here. Now, do you see why it would be nicknamed the land down under? Because it's down below on the bottom part of the earth, isn't it? So they've nicknamed it the land down under. All right, let's go back then to page 29. Not upside down. There we go. Alrighty then. So we're going to the land down under. People traveled to the mainland of Australia a long time ago, making them some of the first sailing explorers in the world. While it's easy to think of these settlers as one group of people, the language family groups that began with Babel were traveling all over the world at this time. Remember the Tower of Babel we talked about, where God confused the languages? The early settlers of Australia are today often called Aboriginals. Right here, see this big word? Aboriginals. Those are the people that first settled in Australia. They were mostly nomads, which means someone that doesn't have a permanent house. They just kind of go from place to place, and they find food as they just go from here to there, and they farm. Would you like to be a nomad, where you didn't have a home and just kind of went back and forth everywhere you wanted to go? Kind of sounds like it'd be fun, but I bet it'd be very hard. Now soon some of these nomads, these Aboriginals, began to settle down. And at that time their homes often were built of stone. Let's turn to the next page. And some were made of volcanic rock. You see that? Some of them were made of volcanic rock. Look at this picture here. These are some of the Australian Aboriginals. These were some of the first people that settled in Australia. The picture's kind of fuzzy, but you might can see it on your page. Most of these groups of people hunted with spears And they used heavy boomerangs. And they would eat wild kangaroos. Would you like to eat kangaroo? Do you know why they ate kangaroo? Where do you find kangaroos? In Australia. Things began to change, though, in the year of 1788. That's when the first people from Europe started to come over to Australia. And the first of these people who came, they set up places for prisoners. And they brought them there to to Australia on ships. They were prisoners. Now there are people from all over the world that live in Australia today. Now Australia is mostly a flat land called a plateau. Can you say plateau? It has some grasslands and it has some deserts. They speak mainly English there, but there's more than 250 different Aboriginal or native languages spoken too. That's a lot of languages. Some of the main things produced there are beef. See this word, beef? That comes from cows. They produce wheat, fruit, wool, and diamonds. Where does wool come from? Sheep. Because Australia is a democracy. Now, this is a very important word. Australia is a democracy. That means that people vote for leaders there. And one thing a bit different here is that if you don't vote, you can be fined, which means that you got to pay money if you don't vote. Do you think that's good or bad? I don't know. Did you know that Lake Erie is Australia's largest lake? It's very salty, with as much salt as the sea has, and it's often only 5 feet deep. That's only about my height, just a little less than me. I could stand in it and the top of my head would be out. But in very rainy season, it fills to about 15 feet deep. That's pretty deep. That would be more than 3 of me. The lake is actually below sea level, and when the lake floods, thousands of birds come here. But no one but God seems to know how they realize the water's rising. Look at that. Look at all those birds back there. I think those might be pink flamingos. What do you think? That's what they look like. Can you turn the page? All right, this is where our assignment is going to be. Okay? Now, do you like poisonous creatures? Well, if you said yes, there's a bunch of them in Australia. But if you said no, well, there's still a bunch in Australia. In the ocean surrounding the country are things like stinging stonefish, which looks like a rock, the box jellyfish, and the southern blue-ringed octopus. The world's most venomous snake is in the desert, and it's known as the inland taipan. Can you say that? The taipan. One of the most dangerous spiders in the world lives there. Ooh, I don't like spiders. That would be the Sydney funnel web spider. Ooh, he's so ugly. With these and so many other poisonous animals here, it's interesting to realize that more people are hurt by honeybees than almost any other creature. It's simply because there's so many, and if you're allergic, their sting can really hurt you. Ooh, this is a stinging stonefish. It does look like a stone. Dear goodness. And that, ooh, that gives me the chills. Wow. And here's the blue-ringed octopus. Do you see why he's called the blue-ringed octopus? Look at those rings on him. And they're blue rings, aren't they? You see this right here? This would be somewhere on a beach where you could swim, but it says danger. See that yellow sign? Danger. Usually a yellow sign means danger. It says blue ring octopus. That means these blue ring octopus live here, so you better be careful. All right. Now our activity says to go to the library and look up some children's books on poisonous creatures in our state. Look here. I've already found some. Look here. Ew. A snake. I bet that's a rattlesnake. Let's look at some more. Oh, wow. Look at all those snakes. Bad snakes. Wow. Ooh, I don't know what kind he is, but he looks like... Oh, that's a blue indigo. He's poisonous. He's a blue indigo. These are some venomous snakes here in Texas. You got a copperhead, cottonmouth, or the same as a water moccasin, a rattlesnake, timber rattler, diamondback rattler, Mojave rattlesnake, blacktail rattler, western rattler. I don't even know how to pronounce that rattler. A pygmy rattlesnake and a coral snake. Ooh, I'd stay away from them. Oh wow, that is one humongo snake. What in the world? That's a fake picture. That's a scorpion, but that's fake. More snakes. Ew! Here's a poisonous spider. It's called a brown recluse. Ooh, those are all over the place here in Texas. We have them here in our house sometimes. I bet you do too. Gotta be careful. Yeah, I think I'd consider this big bad dude poisonous. What about you? I don't think he's poisonous. I think he's deadly. Ew! Ew, he's a rattlesnake. Ew. I don't know what that is, but it's some kind of ugly snake. Aw, he's kind of cute. That's a prairie dog. He doesn't live here. He lives in Colorado, I guess. He's kind of cute, but he's not poisonous. I guess they're showing his picture because poisonous things like to eat them. Ew, I think that's a copperhead. You see how the color of copper that's on him? We're going to look at a couple more. That's a rattlesnake. You see him with those rattlers? He'll rattle it. That means he's getting ready to strike you. Okay. Now there's a difference between poisonous and venomous. I don't really know the difference. I guess poisonous means that they have poison, and venomous means they have venom, and they can kill you. I guess both of them could. This right here is a black widow. These are shiny black, and they have red on their abdomens. You got to stay away from them. I guess these wouldn't kill you, but these might, I guess. I don't know. Look at that puffer fish. Some grasshoppers are poisonous. Some toads are poisonous. Some salamanders, poison dart frogs. Got to be careful with them. Even some butterflies and birds. It's kind of weird. And a snail. He's colorful. Right? Ooh. Let's look back at our book. Can you look at the next page? Now, look at all these pictures from Australia. You see this? Remember, this is a bathyscaphe. It's big, isn't it? They took it up out of the water. Here's a picture of a man and maybe his two daughters or granddaughters, and they're out looking at the pasture. Isn't that beautiful? Ooh, I'd like to go there. Let's look at these pictures. They're playing a game on the beach. It's called beach cricket. Looks like that's a paddleboard or something. They're hitting that ball. Looky here. That's a kangaroo. And here's a koala bear. These are in Australia. What kind of things did you learn about Australia that you didn't know? Can you say it out loud? Just one thing that you didn't know that you learned? Can you get your page, your thankful page? Remember what we're writing down on our thankful page? Can you write down one thing today that you're thankful for? Can you do that for me? All right, well, that'll be all your lesson today.